Hello and welcome to Lindy's YouTube channel. My name is Aditi, and in this video today I am sharing how I create these 5 fall theme ATC cards in mixed media style. I am going to be using the Spellbinder small and large die of the month for September, which is a club release, and my autumn leaves spray set. Along with that, I'm also going to be using Sparkling Sunset for the yellow, and I will be using the yellow and the orange from the Words of Wisdom magical set. I have trimmed several pieces of watercolor paper and I'm starting off with the red hot poker orange, sprinkling the orange magical, misting it with water and letting these two shades of orange blend well for my pumpkins. Next, for my sunflowers, I am spraying the Sparkling Sunset and again sprinkling the yellow magical powder, misting it with water and letting the golden shimmer and the yellow powder blend well together for a nice vibrant yellow paper. For the green, I am using the green from Autumn Leaves, the Cathedral Pines green, and spraying that, and then I'm going to splatter a little bit of the red hot poker orange to bring in this burnt tone to my green, vibing in with the fall theme. And I'm also going to splatter Sparkling Sunset for a little yellow tone. For my autumn leaves, I'm playing with the crimson and then splattering a little bit of the orange just to match that burnt tone that I did for the green. And once these papers dry, I am going to just cut all those elements from the dies I showed you. Now I have 5 pieces of 3 by 4 inch watercolor papers here for my ATC cards, and I'm using a variety of stamps from All in Create, and I am building my background just with black stamping. So I begin with one stamp with the circles and the numbers here, and I stamp that on all the ATCs. I try to change the direction, and just to balance it, I also stamp a little portion of it on the opposite corner because that balances my composition and gives me some extra elements on my ATC cards. So in the same way, I move to the next stamp with the birds and I'm just stamping that on all of these ATCs. Once I'm happy, I balance that again on the opposite side and go in with the number stamp just to add a little more detail. So I am building my texture, which is completely flat, yet with the depth of these stamps using black ink. Just this adds so much depth and dimension and ultimately looks so textured and adds to the mixed media look that I have in mind for these ATCs. I want to bring in texture through my die cut elements, so I decided that for this I would like to keep my background a little more flat instead of adding too much bulk to the background and then having more embellishments on top of that. So once the stamping is complete, I'm going to add color to my background. I am going to use the copper from the autumn leaf set and start splattering that from my spray bottle directly. I mix that with water to get all the color flowing, and then I just keep building more color. So I splatter the Sparkling Sunset, I bring in the red hot poker orange, I bring in a little bit of the crimson, I dry all of that and then splatter a little of the green as well for that pop of contrast. And with that, I have a nice colored background with all the colors flowing. Then I am going to use distress ink and distress the edges of these ATC cards. It just gives it a nice border and frames it all, adding more depth and dimension to these cards. For an extra touch, I am mounting them on black cardstock, making sure I have a 1/8 of an inch on all 4 sides. And I thought I will use these as note cards, so I have it as a small note card instead of just an ATC card, so it's easy for me to give this to my friends and family. Once I have all of that ready, it's just about picking these elements that I have die cut and adhering them to create a beautiful composition. So on 2 of these, I'm going to use the trees and the pumpkins, and then on the rest, I'm going to mix it up with the sunflowers, the pumpkins, and the autumn leaves. I basically adhere to using the elements that I had die cut from my pre-colored papers that I showed you at the start and build a composition on all of these ATCs without having to die cut more elements, just so that they would stay same. So the idea with a set of ATCs is that my background is same pretty much. The techniques are same, the elements have been colored in the same way, but the composition still slightly varies from one ATC to another. And I'm still calling these ATCs, but like I said, these classified to be note cards as well in my case. So once the composition is complete and everything looks good, I am going to go in and splatter some white acrylic ink. I love adding white splatters because that just breaks it all up, as well as brings in a sense of cohesion and unity, tying it all in with the white space that I've left in my background. So once that is done, all these cards need is a sentiment. Instead of adding like a wish or a sentiment, I decided to use my Tim Holtz ideology stickers, the journal stickers, and I'm adding a little phrase on each of them, which is positive, motivational, encouraging, just gives a nice uplifting message. So anybody who receives the ATC would definitely feel positive and uplifted and just about motivated and inspired. So for that reason, I thought this would be a nice little touch. Instead of just sending a standard wish, I could always write my special wishes inside the card, since I made it like a note card. So for the base, just in case you need measurements, I have used black cardstock, which measures 8.5 inches by 3.25 inches, and on the 8.5 inch side I scored it at 4.25, and that gave me a nice top folding card base for these 3 by 4 inch ATCs that we started off with. So with that, I am on to my last one there, and I am just choosing the perfect phrase for that, adhering that, and I am using liquid glue because my stickers are really old. And with that, here is a closer look at these adorable little note cards or ATC cards, whatever you'd like to call them. And the elements add so much texture and depth, perfect embellishments for these fall theme cards. And I'm absolutely loving that background there that adds a level of texture and contrast. With that, my tutorial comes to an end, and I really hope that this gives you ideas for your next fall theme project. And until the next time, take care and bye-bye.